For Trichomes.com, I'm Jared Duggins, and this is the Careers in Cannabis podcast. On this show, we sit down with staffing agencies, cannabis companies, and other industry professionals to discuss employment opportunities in the burgeoning cannabis industry. On today's show, we visited with a guest who, from the depths of Idaho, went out across the nation and found his next opportunities as a recruiter, which means more jobs available to those who utilize his recruitment services. We hear a couple of new suggestions in regard to how one may sharpen their sword, or their resume as it may be in this case, and what job opportunities are starting to surface when you begin to look in the right places. Without further delay, our guest today is Chris Wood, Managing Director of Rise Recruitment. Chris, welcome to the show.
Hi, thanks. Thanks for having me.
My pleasure. It's kind of fortuitous us getting back here. I guess it was in the stars. Chris was planned to be, I can't remember if it was our second or third guest at this moment, but we had planned to check in with Rise Recruitment way back in the beginning of Careers in Cannabis, and we're finally getting around to it now. So, back in the beginning when we started this was when the pandemic and the unemployment crisis was really beginning to scale up from all dimensions. Now it's a little bit of a different landscape, but the same thing is going on. There's a global pandemic. We've still got COVID around us. We've still got changing landscapes in traditional, employment, and then you've got cannabis. First of all, how are you doing personally? How are you and the family? Where are you guys hunkered down?
Well, thank you. Thanks for asking. We're doing great. I am currently in Boise, Idaho. It's a long ways away from where I spent the past 20 years down in Southern California. But right when this stuff started to happen, my wife and I had planned on making a move up here, maybe later on this year or next year, and we just decided to do it now. And so got the two kids in the car, and we're up in Boise, and it's beautiful up here. Getting ready for my first actual fall in 20 years.
Color change and everything in the trees, huh?
Yeah. All the trees are starting to turn red. It's beautiful.
Fantastic. Well, it's good to hear, and I hope you guys continue to do well there. And you said you moved up. You were in San Diego for the last 20 years?
San Diego for 7 and Orange County for 13.
Gotcha. Fantastic. Well, definitely quite a change, and go from 2 seasons to actually having 4, like you said. So, wish you luck with that winter up there.
I know. I'm a little nervous about that one, but I think it'll be nice to have the change, and I can always fly out. So
Yeah. Hey, no, it's been fun. I spent a winter up in northeastern Montana, and it was an experience that I'll never forget, and it was good to go through. It was fun. But yeah, they had some sub-freezing temperatures with some wind chill, and you're thankful for a fireplace and a living room to get out of it into.
I agree.
So yeah, no, great to hear you guys are doing well. Up in Idaho, there's a little bit of a non-cannabis landscape going on, but I know your recruitment goes back into natural products and CBD for quite some time. With the changing landscape as far as cannabis goes, as far as the employment opportunity goes, are there any new developments on your end?
Yeah, actually, it's funny. Beginning, like you mentioned earlier, beginning kind of pandemic, when the hiring was starting to take, I guess the unemployment was starting to rise, in the spring. People were being laid off more so, and most of my calls were actually just talking to individuals looking for work in the cannabis space who either just got laid off or anticipated getting laid off due to what was going on with COVID. But now, what I'm seeing is with a number of states lifting some of the COVID restrictions, like Idaho, even though cannabis is not legal here medically, recreationally, CBD still is. But in the states where it is legalized medically or recreationally, they've been hiring since July, and they're seeing a surge. People are starting to kind of want to get out of the house, and being laid off from traditional corporate America, they're seeing opportunities in cannabis because I believe when the stimulus check came out this year, that was the highest gross sales for dispensaries across the country to date. So yeah, we're essential business. So we're on the better side now of the hiring process, and I only see the rest of this year getting busier and busier.
Fantastic to hear for everyone out there looking for a job and possibly considering a career in cannabis. Um, are within that, when you're looking at a new job, a new vertical, um, a new profession in general, or even just upping your game and taking a step to the next level in your career, it helps to have your well shit together, so to speak. But
Yeah.
when it comes down to sharpening up your resume, do you have any tips or tricks you could share with the audience as far as to help recruiters find the right job?
Yeah. I mean, unless you're trying to get into the science side where you need to have like the agricultural and the scientific background for formulation and whatnot, you most likely have to have some experience with cannabis. But if it's in corporate, like sales, operations, marketing, retail, it all transfers over. So I spent a lot of time talking to individuals in the hospitality who were getting laid off. They were restaurant managers, hotel managers, they were servers, and they were trying to figure out how to get into something because they realized that hospitality is forever changed now because of COVID. And so I was talking about dispensaries, and Cresco Labs up in Illinois did a really good job of I think in June hiring 250 people that were laid off or furloughed hospitality like professionals and bringing them into their Sunnyside dispensaries. So anytime I talk to people about that, I always have them update all their information on their resume, put every detail, whether it's management, operations, software, customer service, sales. What were you your specialty in? What are you looking to get into? Because it is all transferable. If you are in food and beverage or manufacturing, exact same thing. Cannabis and CBD companies need supply chain, they need operations, they need logistics. So that's the biggest thing that most people don't realize is they think they have to have the previous experience or the industry knowledge of the plant, and you really don't. You can read up on that and get trained on that once you get hired. You really just need to have the soft skills or the hard skills based on what your position is. So I always tell them to make sure that they highlight all the softwares they've used, all the monetary value of territories they manage if they're a sales rep, med device reps right now and pharmaceutical reps. They're looking for those individuals who've made a career in pharmaceutical and healthcare and bring them over to cannabis to run a territory because they have to grow and expand. So really that, and then my number one thing is I always tell them to find companies that they're interested in working at and following them on LinkedIn. And then once you follow them, it's not enough because that's good. You get the feed and you get to see all the positions that they're going to be hiring for, but go find who would be your future boss. So if you're a medical sales rep and you can't go see your doctors because you're not opening until phase 4 or 5, and depending on what state you're in, and you need to make money, you can work as a cannabis sales rep or a territory rep, whether it's medicinal cannabis with doctors or if it's like a medicinal CBD. And so, go find the sales manager or sales director for that same company and then connect with them. And then just reach out and intro yourself. You'll find that just by reaching out and individualizing and showing your background from LinkedIn and maybe sending over a resume directly, it'll get your foot in the door. And because people get burned out from filling out 50 different applicant tracking system profiles with every company. You will eventually have to do that at some point, but if you can get in front of someone and build a relationship, it's the fastest way of getting in, especially with the new industry.
Yeah, well, and it's a point of differentiation too. It's you're showing an appreciation for what they're doing as a company, and sometimes when there is a corporation or a company out there putting out want ads or putting out job offerings, the conventional method of communicating with them gets overloaded. So that one person that communicates through social media or communicates through commenting and participating in, like you said, their LinkedIn, that type of thing, will get noticed above and beyond the rest of the group, especially if they've got a way to differentiate themselves
Yeah.
from the rest of the applicants. So great advice, great advice. Um, when it boils down to it, without giving away, what companies are doing the hiring or doing that type of thing, are there any specific positions you're excited about being able to offer right now?
Yeah. This past 3 months have been really exciting. I just got back from I guess it was a 4-state in 5 days trip. Made my little COVID-19 tour from Michigan down to Oklahoma and Texas for a couple of CBD and medical cannabis companies. So I guess the first company I could tell you about, I can actually explain who they are. Their name is Platinum Biosciences. They
Okay.
are a zero THC nutraceutical CBD company based in Prosper, Texas. And I find them extremely fascinating because their chief science officer is a compound pharmacist. And
Okay.
so he has been making formulations for 40 years in the retail consumer goods space. And now what he's doing is he's taking a look at it and he's applying the CBD. And the thing I even like about it the most is he still handpicks all the raws. He goes to all the different vendors throughout the country. He then has it third party tested in Denver, and he doesn't just do the pre-testing for zero THC and heavy metals, but he actually goes in to make sure that there's no glyphosate residue, which very few CBD or cannabis companies actually test for glyphosate. They do test for pesticides, but most people don't realize that a lot of the growers use the herbicide glyphosate, which is found in Roundup, as a drying agent, and they don't realize the dangerous effects to that. So you have this clean product, and then all of a sudden you're drying it out with a non-clean product. But he's very adamant about it. And then he also tests post-production because he wants to make sure nothing's changed. And I was very impressed because I don't know many companies that do a pre and post-production testing of their product, but it's pretty phenomenal. Their claim to fame right now is a CBD isolate pain cream. It's one of the strongest ones I've ever experienced, and without THC, which I think is even more impressive. But they are launching 4 brands right now. They have a medicinal line that doctors are using as an alternative to an opioid or an NSAID for pain relief. That's called Platinum Biohealth. They also have retail brands called Grind and Commando FX, and then you find more along like gyms and wellness spots. And then they have a lifestyle brand called It's Astonishing, and it's pretty exciting. So with all 4 of those brands that they're launching, they have gummy melts, which they're not candies, they're not gummy candies. They are like a medicinal product, but they are used on a number of platforms for sleep, anxiety, pain, focus, you name it. But they're looking for sales reps right now across all 4 brands. So if you're a medical rep looking to get into a new industry, their biohealth line would be a great spot for you. If you are someone who sells to gyms or sports medicine, or the Grind in Commando Effects is a phenomenal concept for you to be a part of, a brand to be part of. And It's Astonishing is more wellness. So if you sell consumer good products to yoga and wellness centers and spas, that's an option for you as well. And so I'm actually doing all the hiring nationwide for those individuals. So if they have a background in sales, or they have the option to be, if they want to do a side hustle right now while they're furloughed, they allow us to bring them on as 1099 as well, and they can make commission. So it's pretty cool. They've opened it up. I'm going to say probably December, January timeframe, they'll be hiring for their corporate. Now their corporate's in Texas. However, they're going to hire everyone remote across the country. They understand you have Zoom, as everyone knows from COVID.
Yep.
You can work anywhere, and they don't want to demand someone to have to work in Texas. They want to find the best people who believe in the benefits of CBD or are passionate about it, and they're going to hire them anywhere. So, I mean, their chief marketing officer lives in Manhattan Beach, out in California. CEOs in Texas, and they have people in Oklahoma. So they're all over. So yeah, that's kind of a really interesting thing. I've been doing a lot of projects with them on helping those brands get built up and now identifying people. So I'm actively hiring people right now for all 4 of those brands. Another company that this is it's going to keep me busy the rest of the year is a medical cannabis company in the state of Oklahoma. They have a pretty cool concept as well. I was really excited when I heard about what they're doing. They're taking an old automotive factory and they are retrofitting it to be a medical cannabis, like a bioengineered medical cannabis company. And it's in a small town that basically the town was lived and worked at this automotive facility. And then, overnight they moved to Mexico. And so the whole town got laid off. And so the CEO, partnered with the local and regional economic development team and some of the local city and state government to come together because, as you know, Oklahoma is one of the fastest growing medical cannabis states right now. With just it's running amok. If is the easiest way to put it, but it's
Right.
good because
Unlimited license.
yeah. So they're trying to bring some structure to it, and the one thing they want to do is Oklahoma has one of the highest opioid abuses and addiction, and so
Right.
they are trying to build this company that's going to work with medical professionals to be able to prescribe a medical engineered cannabis strain. They're using a lead geneticist from Oregon and a NASA LED engineer who
Oh, nice.
uses LED on the spaceship to grow plants in space. And they are going to have individual clean rooms that will have specific strains for the various ailments, pain, anxiety, sleep, whatever it may be. So medical professionals can offer it as an alternative solution to opioids and also to treat addiction in the state of Oklahoma. I thought it was really impressive. They're going to start hiring in the local city area to kind of get those individuals who are laid off from that automotive manufacturer back to work and get the local economy and county economy thriving. But they're also looking to hire people. We're going to be hiring about 40 people between now and December 31st. And that's going to be across all lines. You're going to have your office professionals from admins to accounts payable. You're going to have security, obviously, because it's cannabis facility, so you have to have security involved. And they're going to have cultivation, so a lot of trimmers and specifically lead cultivators that they're bringing in. And then on top of that, they are going to have basic operational staff. But basically, it's an 80,000 square foot facility, and they're going to have about 7 different 10,000 foot grows and then office space. But it's going to be about 40 hires between now and December 31st. They're going to do it in waves, and then they're going to have a perpetual harvest every month with all the different clean rooms, so people can stay employed full time. And then when they have special harvests, they'll be able to hire people on. And now their new projections based on the way the facility is running is by the end of 2021, they'll probably be hiring about 200 people total.
Wow.
And I
That
was
is
just,
exciting.
yeah, it's exciting, right? And I was just so impressed by how many people in local and city governments were involved to try and make this happen because they see the need to do it the right way and show the benefit of rebuilding an economy in a down economy, if you will, for a local community, both state and county. It's going to drive revenue to the state and also provide a healthy alternative product. So I think that's phenomenal. So if you're in the Southwest Oklahoma area, definitely you want to get in contact with me because I'm going to be running the hiring for that company. Um, and then I guess another one that came about recently was a pretty phenomenal concept. It is going to be out of Arkansas, of all places. Um, this company has a license, and they are going to do something similar to the one in Oklahoma, but it's going to be more on the retail side for recreational cannabis, and they are going to be starting off with a 20,000 square foot grow, and then expanding over the next 3 years. And they'll be hiring as well. And then the concept about this one is their main grow is going to be in Arkansas. However, through their experience and their group of individuals, they have a grower, a lighting engineer, and they have a number of people who are like a chief revenue officer and chief growth officer. They are going to come together and help smaller individual farmers, like who get their license, but now they're like, what do I do now? where do I send the raws? Where do I actually grow, and who do I sell to? They're going to help come in and from state to state and help them build an infrastructure and a line so they can actually process their grow and their medicinal cannabis and get it out to actual supply chains. And so it's kind of like an infrastructure. It's kind of cool. So I'll be hiring for them probably at the end of the year, beginning of next year.
Wow. That's definitely quite a bit of opportunity within those three that you just mentioned.
Yeah, it all happened
Um,
all at once. So
oh, great. And within that, for the people who are listening and would be interested in either going into those states or are from those states, what's the best way to get a hold of you and stay up to date on those opportunities?
So I post all my jobs on LinkedIn. So I don't necessarily put them on my website or anything. I put them on LinkedIn because I figure that's the most access to the most people looking for work. So if you can connect with me, I connect to everybody on LinkedIn if they want to. And I think we'll have a link for that on how to connect to me through this podcast. But that's number one. Number two, you can reach out to me on my email because I do a lot of travel and I'm on a lot of calls all day. So it's nice for me to have access to email. That's chris@risingrecruit.com. And so my particular company that I'm working for, we focus solely on the cannabis, CBD, and natural product space. And so those are the areas that we're in. And so we're always looking for great people or looking to help to get great people into the industries because there's three really great industries that I think are really going to change the way we look at our health and our food moving forward. And I think it'll give us a nice balance to kind of like big pharma and the current healthcare system with alternative products that will help. They're more natural and they're healthy. So
I definitely agree with you there, and I look forward to hearing how many people get a hold of you through your LinkedIn. We definitely will have a link in the bio and or under any of these platforms where you're listening on. So go ahead and follow that. And Chris, thank you so much for your time today.
no, thank you. It was great being on here, and I'm looking forward to hopefully helping some people, who find out about this opportunity and give me a call or reach out to me via email.
Yeah, whether it's 1, 2, or we reemploy the rest of that the town in Oklahoma because they happen to share this with each other. I hope the right people are listening and that they find some opportunity through Rising Recruit.
Thank you very much.
Talk to you soon.
Okay.
You can follow our series Careers in Cannabis, as well as more great shows like this one at trichomes.com. If you're a member of the cannabis community and you have a story you want to share with us, reach out. You can reach the show at careersincannabis at trichomes.com. Please take a second to subscribe to the podcast and write a review. It really helps others find the show. For trichomes.com, I'm Jared Duggins. Be well, and thank you for listening.